IPMNation.com.
Hit that airballs! Airballs! Hit that 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 airballs!
Local Outbreak at IPM Nation and 100.1 The Planet. This is Matt from IPM Nation. We are at the studio at 598 Main Street in downtown Laconia. Please come say hi to Melissa if you haven't done so. And especially, you know, the holidays be here before you know it, so it's a good place to do some shopping. So thestudionh.com is a website if you want to check it out online. And we are here with John from Bill. Do you call it Bill or Bill the Band, or what do you call the band?
Well, we do have some issues with this. Yeah, it's Bill. It's just Bill. It's the name of the band, which goes way back to our first shows, but it does get a little dicey since our lead singer's name is Bill Gage, etc. But I just remember bands like Jethro Tull and people that have had bands where it was just a name or something, and so whatever. You can tell we're pre-internet. Because
right.
It's like Yes, you would never name a band Yes,
right?
If it was if Google existed,
right? Yeah, it's funny, the name thing. I remember years ago I worked at Strawberries on Loudon Road in Concord, and these young kids would come in who thought that Pink Floyd was a person, that there was some guy named Pink Floyd.
Yeah. Well, by the way, which one's Pink?
Right. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Have you guys? You've been around a long time. From the conversation you were having with Melissa, it sounded like.
Yeah, it all started as really an effort to see what my brother, who has a tremendous voice, but also has Down syndrome, to see what would happen if he actually had a band playing behind him. Because in putting together some bands in high school, there were times when I'd be out of the room for a few minutes and I'd hear this tremendous sound coming from the practice space. Suddenly, like the band is playing a song and there's a guy singing it, and I'm thinking to myself, I didn't think any of those guys were singers, but that sounds great. And then you go in and I find out it's my brother.
That's wild.
And I say, what happened? And he said, well, he just grabbed the mic and just started singing the song.
No kidding.
And introducing him over the years to some other musicians and them hearing his voice, which is pretty different. They would just be flabbergasted, and I just thought, there's got to be something here. Let's just give him a chance. There was a place called Chet's Last Call in the North End in Boston, which actually got a reference one time on St. Elsewhere. Let's go to Chet's Last Call and have a sandwich, as though you could actually eat there, which you could not actually do. But it was a great place to start playing out as a band if you were in Boston, because all you had to do was call up Chet, and he would give you a show on a Tuesday night just over the phone, never having heard anything.
Just to kind of try you out.
Yeah. And you'd get these little tickets from him that would be $1 off. You could stick them on your flyers, and so people would come by, and you'd get 4 bands in a night, and who knows, maybe one would be fantastic. So me and some friends, we'd regularly go, and anyways, I had played there a few times, and that's what we did. It was like, hey, and so when the time, what's the name of the band? Well, Bill. And then once we put out a few cassettes, and he was actually writing out his name on the individual cassette labels.
Yeah.
There was one that was just a really beautiful version of his signature, and I just took it and scanned it, and that became the logo.
No kidding.
And so then we really were stuck with it.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. So what was the time span between when you first discovered that, you first heard him sing, and like between that and going out and actually playing shows?
About 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was about 81, 82. I played here at the Guilford High School. That's one of the shows that we were practicing for when he grabbed the mic in practice and started singing. Opening for Jim Jones and the Guyanas.
Yeah.
Bill didn't, play with us then. There wasn't any thought. It was just sort of in the back of our minds, like, wow, he's got a great voice. Too bad we don't really know what to do with it,
Right.
So when we did the show 5 years later, which was in Boston, I mentioned that, but we literally went in with no set list, no inkling of what we were going to do. I just had a number of friends, the band that I was in, so we had a bass player, we had a drummer, and then two other fellows who were playing guitar, one of which was Stephen Merritt, who's now in the Magnetic Fields.
Okay.
And Paul Desjardins, who's in Pseudonym, he was a bass player in my old band. So we had three guitarists up there, a bass player and a drummer, and we just would say, we'd turn to each other and pick a key, pick a time signature, and then just go.
Wow.
And so some of the songs became ballads, some were pretty rockin', and some were just kind of spooky.
Yeah.
And but he had a tremendous effect on the people that were in the audience. I mean, he got people. When he was funny, he got people laughing. He sang one love ballad, and there was a couple in the audience, and there were tears in their eyes.
Wow.
He just sings with such feeling. So we sort of declared that a success, and just tried to move along from there and do things when we could.
What about lyrics? Was he just kind of making them up as he went along?
Oh, he was winging it. That is
No kidding.
right.
Wow.
Yep.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
I know. I wouldn't dare to do it. I
Yeah.
prefer to be rehearsed.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah.
I like set lists. I like organization. But that's sort of the yin to his yang. That I help sort of organize the stuff behind what he's doing. And then he puts his imprint on it, and then we, the rest of the band, react to that, and it's just sort of a conversation back and forth in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Prior to all of this, like growing up, did you have any inkling that he had any kind of musical ability, or was this just a complete surprise?
Well, it was a surprise, but the surprise was probably more due to the big difficulty, and I was talking about this with Melissa, with people who have Down syndrome. Generally, the biggest challenge that they have with the world around them is communication difficulties.
Yeah.
They may have an awful lot of thoughts and understanding and ideas, but to actually communicate with them can at various times. I mean, each person who has Down syndrome has their own special version of DS, really.
Sure.
But my point here is just that Bill wasn't going to go around and say, "Hey, everybody, I'd like to front a band."
Right.
And maybe I could take some bass lessons, and hey, can we go and play some shows? I'll call them up. I'll call Chet up on the phone.
Right.
He can't use a telephone, those little buttons and all of that, and looking up something in the phone book and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But to just finish answering your question, the other part of this was that in his room when we were growing up as kids, he would have a little TV in there. He had a record player. He had a cassette player, and he still does this. He'll actually have the TV going. He'll be listening to music at the same time. He'll be tape recording the whole thing, and then he'll also be either reacting to the music or the TV, or he'll just have his own little soap opera that he's expressing verbally.
Yeah.
And it sounds like some sort of avant-garde happening is going on in his room.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, I was sort of alone in my room and being a angsty teenager and writing poetry and drawing doodles and stuff. And I just thought, music seems like it's a more social activity.
Yeah.
Just from Bill being in his room by himself, it just seemed, and it really kind of inspired me to get involved in getting into music myself in the first place. So in a way, it's kind of almost like a full circle to bring Bill back on around and see what he could do, and then to discover, wow, he really can do something.
Yeah. You mentioned bass. Does he play bass as well?
He's had a bass. He doesn't. His fingers don't. He would love to play the guitar.
Yeah.
But his fingers just will not do all the fretting stuff.
Sure.
He's got a tremendous sense of rhythm. His right hand is fantastic.
Yeah.
So he's occasionally done some keyboard stuff.
Wow.
And he's done some drum stuff because grabbing the sticks or hitting the keys. And just saying, okay, so we're going to do this in A minor. So if you just play all these white keys, we're going to be cool, and then that's what he does,
Wow.
And then he just follows how it sounds and how he feels and improvises.
Was he nervous the first time you guys played out?
Oh no.
No. Huh?
Oh no.
Wow.
No.
Good for him.
He does not get nervous performing.
Yeah.
He's almost like a different person in a way. He's so confident, and normally, on an average day, he is the quietest, calmest, gentlest person that you could hope to meet. And he's very friendly and giving and, hardly makes a peep, really, unless he's off in his room doing little soap operas and stuff.
Yeah.
But, put a mic in his hand, and he's just this raucous entertainer. He's just connected with the audience. He's connected with the music.
Yeah.
And he's just letting it out. And if he has an inspiration, he just goes to it and does it.
Yeah. Wow. And what about in terms of recording? I mean, how is that process? And,
you're asking all the right questions, I'll tell you, Matt.
I've been doing this show a while.
Yeah. Well, for us, this is an ongoing challenge and an ongoing, but challenge as in let's do this, rather than challenge as in we're not really sure, so let's not bother.
Right.
We're now on our umpteenth approach with Bill.
Yeah.
We're really very excited about we feel like we finally have kind of really hit on a way to produce some music that is unlike anything we've done before. I mean, we've had hints of it, but we've sort of really going to abandon traditional song structures, which we've, one of the songs on Batman is called "All My Heart and All My Life," and it's a verse, chorus. It's got a bridge. I mean, it's got sort of the classic Beatle structures. and the Redbirds on the new record, the Bill album. That's also the same thing. It's a very classic pop structure.
Yeah.
But to recreate those things going out live has proved difficult. And so we're more into the idea of riffing now, abandoning song structures and instead building up sections of songs. So maybe a song just has an A and a B section, and the A section just builds and builds and builds, and then it'll suddenly cut off at a point, and then like an altered version of the riff will kind of come in, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's our newest approach.
Yeah.
But we have tried many things. There's an instrumental on the new album, on the Bill, which is called the Bill album.
Yeah.
He names all the songs. He names the albums.
Oh wow. Okay.
And the song is called Singing, and it actually is an instrumental. And Bill's playing all the instruments.
No kidding.
So, like I say, we've tried many things, and we're still trying out new things, and that's part of the fun and the excitement.
In terms of Bill's lyrics in the studio, does he write anything down, or is that all
Nope.
spontaneous, just like on stage?
He can't really write.
Yeah,
he can't
yeah.
really write. That was one of the many reasons behind making the band name Bill was, well, he can write that.
Yeah.
Like, that's about the only thing he can write.
Yeah.
And so it doubles as a way to sign autographs, and it's the name of the band,
Yeah.
and he can make the logo, etc. But he doesn't write things. He doesn't write it down, but he remembers stuff.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes we've worked on. I mean, I noticed that there was one song called "I'm Not Scared," and there's a video of that online. And I recorded him doing the vocals maybe 4, 5, 6 times, and then I'm an editor as well as a producer. But I love to edit. I love to edit.
Yeah.
And I tried a few different approaches. I tried some multi-track, using some of the things multi-tracked. But then I wound up going with some single-track vocals, and I had put in a couple of spaces, and at the very beginning I'd used this one whisper take of the intro that he did, and I noticed that after the record came out and he could listen to it a few times, he started performing it.
Yeah.
Just like that. He would do the whisper thing in the beginning, and it was so cool because he just did it, one take that he did the whisper thing, and I used it. But then he just like, yeah, that's how it goes now.
Yeah.
So again, we sort of have a back and forth conversation, I guess would be the modern way to put it.
Yeah.
And we just sort of always are checking in with him. What do you think about this? Do you like this? Should it go this way? What do you want to do?
Yeah.
What just say? I'm not scared now. I'm not scared. I don't care. Yes, I can. Don't you care? I don't care. Yes, I can. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. What you can. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. I don't understand. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. What you want? What you expect to do? Oh, no, no. And I can. I'm okay. I'm okay. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. I don't care. I don't scared.
How many albums have you guys recorded?
I think we've recorded. We've put out 3.
Yeah.
But we've got another one at least that we have recorded, but it needs mixing and then some editing. It was a particular approach that we did, and right after recording it, I just got busy with a bunch of stuff, and I kind of just couldn't get. So that's sort of waiting to finish. So I guess it's about 4 or 5, and we've got a tape of a radio show in 1987 that we'd like to put out a version of that.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's so cool. Where was it in Boston, on Boston?
Yeah, it was Brandeis Radio.
Oh, nice. WBRS.
WBRS, live on the joint.
Very nice.
And that was pretty wild. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. I'd love to hear that. That sounds interesting. Has it been, obviously you guys have been around a long time, has it been the same lineup? I mean, obviously it's always been you and Bill, but what about the other guys?
We don't have the same rest of the band as the very first show, but the second show, the radio show in 1987, Eric and Darren participated in that, and they still play drums and guitar.
Wow!
In the band, yeah,
that's pretty impressive too, given the span of time. Wow. That's awesome.
And we had another guitarist named Greg Anson, who's since moved to L.A., but he was in the band about 7 or 8 years, and he was a really good influence on the band. I mean, he's a great guy to hang out with, but he's a really good musician. We brought him in because there's one song on Batman, the one of the CDs that you've got there, and it's called Steve Pepper. And it's we got a and it's kind of a metalish sort of song, and we got a fellow that we knew who was a really good guitar player, and he put on this blazing guitar solo on it.
Yeah.
And Eric and I are just sort of looking at each other like, yeah, we got to get somebody else. Like, you can't do that, and I can't do that.
Right.
So, and I'm like, well, Greg is a really good guitarist. Let's bring him on in. So he came on in and he was playing on his, I think, 30th birthday. And he had such a good time that he just said, anytime you want to do anything, just give me a call. And so we talked it over with Bill, and then we invited him in to come and just basically play with us. And he played with us for quite a while, and he's on the Bill album. He's all over it. He wrote some of the material, the backing material as well.
When you guys record, is it all self-produced, or do you work with anybody from the outside?
It's been self-produced so far. Our next record, which we'd like to make in the spring, we'd like to go into a studio, a proper studio, so that we're not so distracted.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to play in a band while you're also thinking about, how are the drum mics doing?
Right.
And we'd also like to have a more professional setup, especially to get Bill recording live vocals with us, which sometimes I talk with an engineer, and that kind of makes their head spin, it seems like, because it's, I mean, I love a lot of 50s and 60s rock and roll stuff, and that's how they did it most of the time.
Absolutely,
And so for me, this just seems like, well, why not?
Right,
But
right.
a lot of them are not set up to it, or they're just very inexperienced doing it, and, I understand it takes some effort, especially when you got a full drum kit going, and
Sure.
our drummer's pretty loud and all this kind of stuff, but...
Yeah.
It can be done. It can be done. I have faith. I know we can do it. I know this can happen. So so that'll be, we'll have, hopefully somebody will be really simpatico. We're talking about a few different studios.
Cool.
We'll see.
Okay. And what about in terms of playing out? Do you guys play out a lot, or?
We would love to be playing out a lot more. It's really hard to get the band all together. Eric lives in Rhode Island.
Oh, wow.
Darren is in Boston. Galen, who is the bass player, and myself, we live in Worcester. And Bill is here in Laconia, New Hampshire. And I have to come and pick him up. He can't get on a bus and just come on down.
Okay, yeah.
There has to be someone who is functioning as a guardian with him, really.
Right. Yeah.
Because he's a pretty agreeable fellow, and it's easy enough to imagine somebody just saying, "Oh yeah, Worcester, that's this stop. Here, I'll help you off," and then we never see Bill again.
Yeah.
So it's an enterprise to make it happen, but it's really rewarding too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you guys are really spread out. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, one guy in Rhode Island. Jeez.
Yeah. He's a little closer to us than Darren in Boston by about 15 minutes on the drive. Worcester and
because you're in Worcester.
Providence.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and we were practicing in Boston, and now we're putting together a space in my garage in Worcester. So Worcester's the new home base. But
gotcha. Now, where should people go online to keep up with what you guys are doing?
Well, there's grasshopperrecords.com. That's probably the primary place. If you just Google Bill and band, we come up about the third entry. But the Grasshopper Records website really comes up there. And that'll bring you to the Grasshopper site will bring you to the Facebook page and the sort of other things. And that's got all the videos on the Bill page on the grasshopperrecords.com.
Yeah.
Some SoundCloud stuff, NPR interview, or whatever, Public Radio International. Sorry, I gotta make sure to have that right.
Yeah.
2008 and 2009, we kind of got pulled out of a complete and total obscurity for a little while because we got some shows, and I don't know, there was one show we were playing, and a fellow was walking by, and he just thought, I'm going to go in and see who's playing at the Abbey Lounge tonight, and it turned out it was us.
Oh, wow.
And he was a writer for the Boston Phoenix, and so then he wrote an article on us, and they put it on the cover of the magazine, which actually it was kind of funny because I was at Newbury Comics one day, and when the issue was out, and I saw somebody, some college kids walking in, and they took the Phoenix, which was a free magazine.
Yep. Oh, I remember it well. Yeah.
Yeah, and the fellow picked it up, and he pulled out the art section, and he dropped the rest of it where it lay, and just left it laying there. And I just thought, no. Curse you, Red Baron.
That's kind of funny.
That just turned into we got some other things like PRI and
Very cool.
Maria Stefanos, who was a real sweetheart.
Yeah.
And so for a little while we had a small media frenzy, but
that's awesome.
Kind of ran its course.
What is Grasshopper Records?
That's just my little record label that I've had on and off since '91.
Oh, no kidding.
And we've just put out our own stuff. When
you ever
when we
work
had
with anyone
something.
else on it, or just?
There's other people other than Bill, Hope Elaine and Pseudonym, I mean, if Eric gets a recording together with his band, he's got his own band. He's always had a band. He's a real go-getter. Then I'd love to put something out there. And it was really fun and exciting putting the Bill album, the new one. That's the name of it. Again, it's just Bill is not really thinking about what's going to go well on Google.
Right.
Just like ask him 3 times. It's just like, no, that's the name, the Bill album. Okay, fine. Again, like Yes, the Yes album. Like you just wouldn't do that now.
Right.
But in 1971, sure. But it was really fun and exciting to get something issued on vinyl. Because we all are big vinyl fans, or most of us are, anyways. Darren's pretty digital heavy, but everybody else in the band, we love our records.
Nothing sounds better than vinyl.
That's
the warmth. And
that's right.
I worry that there's a whole generation of kids coming up now who have no idea. Granted, some of them are into the vinyl, some of them get it, but of course, obviously, vinyl sounds better than a CD, and a CD sounds better than an MP3, and so forth. But
you can't sell CDs used now. That's sort of the test right there. I mean, CDs are kind of, I hate to say it, they're kind of worthless now. I mean, I still get some enjoyment out of some of them because they're great for the car.
Oh, yeah.
And I really tried to do the digital revolution, and I got 400 or 500 CDs, and now they're all sort of sitting in a bookcase in the hallway, and I bring a few out for the car. But CDs are also from 1979. It's 16-bit. I mean, if you were going to design something, you would not wind up with this product.
Right.
It's funny because if you go to our Bandcamp page, which is it's Bill R A Band on Bandcamp, because we just try to get people kind of referring to the band as a plural entity, and not just a guy. But
makes sense. Yeah.
It's an uphill climb, up a hill of sand. You can get the 24-bit FLAC or ALAC files from it, and those are better than the CD files.
Yeah,
they're better quality, even though they're MP3s or whatever. So it's a little bit of a funny time that we live in, but I'm convinced that ultimately there's going to be a superior digital music format that it will blow away everything. But each song will be gigabytes in size rather than 10 megabytes.
Right. Yeah. Well, John, thank you so much. This is cool. This was, I'll let the listeners in. My guest kind of got confused, my original guest who I was supposed to have booked, but you happened to walk in. And I'm really glad, because this was really interesting. One of the fun things about the show for me is the rare occasion that I get to talk to somebody who's doing something really unique and original, and this is a very unique project. So it's kind of like fate. So I'm really glad you walked in, and we're talking to Melissa. And
Faith has a lot with what we're doing, man. I'll tell you, we believe in rock and roll, and we believe in Bill. And right now I'm in my hometown because he's up at the hospital. He's had some stomach problems.
Oh, wow.
And I'll be going up there tonight. I've been sleeping in his hospital room just so that a family member is there with him all the time. So we're just wishing him he could get well soon, Bill.
Yeah.
Because we got a lot of rocking to do.
Absolutely. All right, John, thank you so much.
Thank you, Matt.
Boys. What's up? Come on. Let me through. Get down.
IPMNation.com.